can query these wind speeds. This is likely a damaging wind event or the possibility of still a tornado. We're talking over 70 to 80 mile per hour winds just aloft being estimated by the radar. So that could certainly very well be transported to the ground. We're talking the potential of over 70 miles per hour. That can certainly knock down trees, take out power, and make it very difficult for travel, even topple semis, which we saw outside of Louisville just 20 minutes ago. So there's a look. This is likely headed up towards Randolph. So if you live in Randolph, I guess that's right in the Indiana-Kentucky state line. So we got 3 states here. You got Ohio, which is right about there. This is Kentucky, and then this is Indiana. So in Indiana, Randolph, you're next in line, about to be hit with some very strong winds and the possibility of a tornado. They have allowed the tornado warning to drop. So it looks to be right now a damaging wind event moving towards the south side of Cincinnati, and this may make it up into the city. So we've got to watch this very closely. If you live in Florence, you're probably 15 to 25 minutes away and about 30 minutes away from Cincinnati proper. All right, then the northern warning on the north side of the Cincinnati metro area is also being tagged with the possibility of tornado. And like we had in Louisville, that happened very quickly. That tornado came on the ground and then was warned on. So you want to treat these very seriously. We don't see any tight-knit circulation, at least right now, but that could change. And the winds here near Ross and moving towards the north side of the metro area are very damaging, especially as they're getting a little bit of that bowing feature right there. Very heavy rain, blinding rain, a lot of lightning associated with these storms as they push off towards the east, northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So they're coming in pretty quickly. You need to get inside, get into your safe place. Even though they're not technically tornado warnings, they can very well turn into one in just a moment's time. So treat that seriously. We still have the ongoing tornado warning here, northeast of Louisville now, near I-71. The circulation with this has now kind of not as good as it was when it was on the ground. It does appear to be weakening, but there's still notable rotation. And if anything, we have some very strong winds coming out towards Eminence and just south of Newcastle. Still a dangerous storm, regardless of whether there's still a tornado on the ground or not. This has a history of producing some concerning situations east into Newcastle, Slabtown, Franklinton by 6:15 p.m. And there's the broad view, so you see where we're tracking. This is the most concerning line, but then we're looking to the south into Tennessee where we still have an ongoing tornado. That one has been observed, and now moving towards I-75, a considerable threat tag here just south of the Kentucky state line. This includes you in Campbell and Scott counties near Elk Valley, Fincastle, and areas near U.S. Highway 25 West. So if you live in these areas, please take shelter. Pulaski County is where we're at just south of the Kentucky state line. This is moving right over I-75 to the south of Elk Valley and up towards Habersham. So if you live there, please take shelter and get inside to the lowest floor of your home if you can. Looking at the skies there, Jackie, in Cincinnati, certainly a concerning look. Now that's looking north, so that's the severe weather to the north of the city. If we were to turn that camera, we would see a much different, similar sky, likely, as that second area. Yes. Very strong winds moving in.
We probably have 4 different cells there that have the potential of rotating if they're not already, and they're moving into an environment that's favorable for them to continue to go. So those are areas we really need to keep a very close eye on. Want to update folks right now on the latest when it comes to all the watches. Remember, a tornado watch means conditions are ripe for tornadoes to develop. A warning means take cover now. So the watches extend from Columbus, Ohio, all the way down into Mississippi and into Alabama. You can see the various times when these are going to be ending from west towards the east. So once the cold front passes, you'll be in the clear, and the cold front is making some forward progress. This is also a line in an area that bears watching as more progress and thunderstorms have been intensifying. Notice the big area of lightning here into northern Alabama and working into southern parts of Kentucky. So it's a large area that we're dealing with, and kind of a different animal because we have a big upper low that's barreling through the Ohio Valley, and it's really the larger trough that's working its way across the deep south, which is why areas to the north have the higher tornado risk. You have a higher shear environment. But one of the things we're working on right now, even as we're getting closer towards sunset, we're working on bringing more moisture into the atmosphere, which creates more buoyancy into the air, which can trigger more storms, support them, sustain them, and we've got torcons as high as a 5. That includes you in Atlanta and Birmingham. So notice how the instability is increasing, coming in from the south with those lower level winds that are coming in, and we're getting that lift with the cold front in addition to all of that. So these storms in the south are expected to maintain and continue overnight while you're sleeping. They're more dangerous that way, I think, because a lot of people are in bed, plus you can't see what's going on. So that's when you need to trust the mornings and have multiple ways to get alerted while you're sleeping, especially if you're a heavy sleeper. So 8 o'clock tonight, we're looking at Birmingham stretching down into southern parts of Mississippi. Notice the Atlanta metro might have a few storms early on, and then the big show comes in maybe between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. The Carolinas then get into the risk area along with southern parts of Georgia, and that's at 6 o'clock in the morning. We've had a lot of rain in the south week after week after week, and there's a lot of moisture with these storms, so that's going to get squeezed out, and we may get runoff leading to some flooding. We've had some flood alerts in the Ohio Valley, not so much yet into parts of the south, but that is certainly going to be a possibility, especially later tonight as we get more clustering and widespread storms as they move from the west towards the east. Mark, it's going to be a long night for folks, and we still can't even rule out severe weather tomorrow as this moves towards the eastern seaboard.
Absolutely. So we want to check in the south. Meteorologist Jordan Steele is in Huntsville, Alabama. Schools got out early today with an abundance of caution, and now some showers are showing up. Jordan, do you think that maybe we can get this little kind of weaker round in, stabilize things in town, and have storms kind of split the difference around Huntsville?
You know what, that would be ideal if we could, have that take place here, because all day today people have been prepping for the big storms that could, right? We know the Torcon number here for northern Alabama is a 5. Our scale goes out of 10, and so the tornado risk or that threat has been likely all day today, which is why schools got let out. Speaking of, kids in schools or spring break, check this out, you guys. You've got the space camp taking place right behind me. That's their barracks or their sleeping quarters here at the Space and Rocket Center, which I think is so cool. We were watching students going from the museum itself and kind of going into their sleep zone, or whatever you want to call it, their living quarters here for the week. And when we just take a look at what could come overnight, anybody who's getting prepped to make dinner, maybe watch a movie, go to bed, I want to make sure that you guys stay weather aware and keep all those devices on loud. One of the big things about Alabama is you have 13% of the population that live in mobile homes, okay? And we know mobile homes are the least safest place you could be. So do you have a community shelter? You might have to rush to it. Most of the storms that we have been to our west have been non-severe this evening. That's been great. There's more lightning getting closer and closer, and of course these storms could actually amplify. I was just looking at the National Weather Service here in Huntsville and looking at their discussion about what's happening and what could happen overnight. We have this low-level jet. We've been talking a lot about the shear component, right? You can kind of see we've had gusts here at the service at 30. The clouds above moving from west to east or southwest to northeast above me, and those are going between 40 and 50 miles per hour. But this low-level jet could intensify overnight, which could ultimately increase the storms and the storm coverage while many people are sleeping. So I want you to stay weather aware. Yes, Mark, it would be nice if we split the difference, but I think ideally the storms are definitely going to get going here in the next couple of hours. Justin, I know that you've been keeping an eye on all the storms around the Ohio Valley. Your shot has been beautiful with the skyline in the background, but the intense weather has been covering you guys and surrounding you guys as well.
Well, I will tell you, Jordan, the rain is beginning to fall here again very lightly, but what's coming at us is not very light at all. In fact, looking off to the western sky, you can see why we are now in a severe thunderstorm warning, in addition to the tornado watch that we're in and the flood watch. We now have our first warning here, and it's a severe thunderstorm warning, and you can see those dark clouds. In fact, a little flash of lightning there. That is coming directly for the Cincinnati metro. Remember, about 2.25 million people live here in the Cincinnati metro, whether you're on the Ohio side of that metro or the Kentucky side of that metro. It's a lot of people, and they're all right now in the scope of that storm coming in this direction. Let's all hope very, very intently that that storm does not go tornado warned. That would be a very bad thing for a city right now with this many people in it. Looking across, though, at the north, also, if you take a look at the radar, there's confirmation of some of the really nasty weather that's happening north of Cincinnati. Look at the dark clouds beyond that skyline. How beautiful is that skyline? But still, there is a lot of really dangerous weather around, and that's only highlighted by the fact that we have that severe thunderstorm warning in place right now. In fact, you might be able to see the very light rain falling, and it seems to be getting a little bit worse by the seconds as they come by, because that nasty line is coming at us. So we are watching very closely and also listening very closely, because the moment we start to hear thunder and see lightning, Mark, is the time we start to go inside. And Mark, of course, if a tornado warning is issued, we'll be heading to our safe space until that expires.
Absolutely, gotta follow our own advice, right? We don't want you out there when lightning is approaching, just like we don't want our viewers out there if lightning is approaching.